Good evening, friends. We are going to take up some numerical problems on valuation of supply of goods and services under GST. So yesterday we have seen the valuation rules, and we dealt with one numerical problem. Let's continue with our discussion and take up a numerical problem on how to find out the valuation of the goods. Okay, so I will repeat the same example, and we will again take up some new examples as far as numerical and practical examples are concerned. Okay, so in this case, so Mr. Ramakant is a manufacturer providing the following particulars. He is primarily a person who is into the manufacturing of machines, and after he manufactures machines, he is selling it, and the details of the price and the other costs and other details are furnished by him. Okay, so the price what he's assuming is 2 lakh rupees, but he has not included these items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, these items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are not considered for finding out the transaction value, because as I already told, if the goods are sold, if there is a supply of goods or services to a unrelated person, and the price is the sole consideration, in such a case the transaction value is the value on which we are going to levy the GST. But how do we arrive at the transaction value? To arrive at the transaction value, you have to take into consideration all the cost included for manufacturing and supplying that goods plus a element of profit. So in this case, he has given the price of the goods at which he is selling, but he is telling that, sir, what should I do about these remaining 6 items? What should I do? Whether they should be included in the transaction value or not? And after you find out the rules, and whether you, after including or not including this product, will come to know the exact transactional value. Okay, so in this case, the price of the machine is 2 lakh rupees, which he has purchased and he wants to sell to the end customer. The packing charges which are incurred for making the machine in a packed condition is 20,000 rupees. The designing charges to manufacture this particular product, there are some elements of designing charges which are incurred by the concerned manufacturer, 40,000 rupees. Insurance, see, once the goods are transported to the end customer by a proper mode of transportation, that particular goods has to be insured against any natural calamities or mishaps. So those goods have to be insured. That freight has to be insured, and freight outwards. So if the end customer wants to receive the said goods, it has to be transported from this end to the customer's end, and there is a likely expenditure incurred for freight outwards or carriage outwards or transportation charges. Installation. Now, after the goods are received or the machine is received by the end customer, the people from the engineers or specialized people from the manufacturer end will visit the site of the receiver, and they will help in installing this particular machinery. So in this case also installation has taken place, and the buyer is asking for certain element of discount, and the discount given by Ramakant to the recipient is 4% on the price, 4% on the price. So with this particular uh, data, we will find out the transactional value and what are the elements that should be included to the cost price, and what are the elements which should be deducted from the price of the machine. Sorry. Okay. So first, to this, we have to add packing charges. We have to add packing charges because packing charges are incurred, and this have to be included. It should be included in this one, in the price. In the same way, designing charges have to be added and should be included, as we have already spoken about the theoretical part. Even insurance is required to see that the goods are reaching the end customer safely. So this should be also included and added to the cost to the price. Freight outwards, this should be also included, and it should be included and added to this price. In the same way, installation are the costs which are incurred by the manufacturer, and these are incurred, and hence this should be included in the price. So this 1 2 3 4 5 6 items, 1 2 3 4 5 items should be included, that is added. And discount on this is allowed as a deduction, because whenever you want to promote your product and you want to sell your product, you have to give discounts. And discounts is a what do you call, it is an expenditure. It's an expenditure, and you are not going to recover it. You are not going to recover from your this price, from this price. So that should be excluded. That should be excluded because that much money is not received. So let's see the answer. Let's see the answer. So 2 lakh rupees is the cost, the price what he is assuming. To this we will add packing charges 20,000 rupees, because it should be included. To this we will add designing charges of 40,000 rupees, because that should be included in the price. Transit insurance, we have to compulsory do insurance for the product and for the transportation, so that should be added. Freight outwards, so the transportation cost incurred for seeing that the end product is reaching the customer, for which transportation incurred is included. And installation charges incurred by the manufacturer has to be included. So now we will come to know that the real price is 2,78,000. Okay, now let's see the discount wala. On this 2 lakh rupees, 4% discount is been extended by the supplier, which is equivalent to 2 lakh rupees. So he's not going to receive 2 lakh rupees. He's going to receive only 1,92,000. So how did I get 1,92,000? Because from 2 lakh rupees, 8,000 has to be deducted. So from this you deduct 8,000 rupees. So as you are not going to receive, so the price now becomes 2,70,000 rupees. So the price becomes 2,70,000 rupees. So on this is called as transaction value. This is called as transaction value. So this was the price, and now to this price 1 2 3 4 5 items are added, and one item is deducted to find out the transaction value. So the transaction value should be included in the transaction value should be included in the invoice. So in this invoice they will tell that the selling price or the transactional value is 2,78,000, and suitable uh, pertinent appropriate GST will be levied. For example, if it is 20% on this, so it is 55,600 which will be levied. So it will become 3,33,600. So this is called as full price. The full price is inclusive of GST and the price, that is the transaction value. So hope you have understood this particular problem. This can be expected in your examination. This can be expected from your examination. Number 2 question. Now let's take the second numerical problem for the day. The second numerical problem is like this. So let's read out the problem. Let's read out the problem. The problem goes like this. The Mr. Rahul provides the following information about the supplies what he is supplying. So the goods which he is supplying to a customer, the data of which is given. So this is the value of the machine including GST is 5 lakh rupees. In this case, this particular 5 lakh rupees is inclusive of 12% GST. So please remember, transaction value has to be found out, and on the transaction value we are going to levy 12%, and that will give you the selling price or the full price. Okay, so this is the full price is 5 lakh rupees, and the transaction value we are going to find out, which is X rupees. So on this X rupees he has charged 12%, but our main concern is to find out X. So X, this particular selling price is inclusive of this 12 percentage. So we have to deduct from 5 lakh rupees the 12 percentage. So this is a fundamental important question, point. To find out this, let's calculate. Let's calculate what is the GST, which is included in the value of the machine. So to find out that, let's calculate. Let's calculate. So in this, you got in this 5 lakh rupees, you got GST inclusive. So 112% is equal to 5 lakh rupees. So 100%. Then how? What is 100%? 100% is nothing but cross multiply it 100 into 5 lakhs by 112. So if you work out this, you will get your answer as far as price which is not inclusive of GST. So we will later find out what is the value to it. So let's skip for the moment about this particular value. Now, number one, already added in this amount. In this amount, how many items are already added? And we have to find out whether it should be added or not. Now, testing charges. So once you are manufacturing the machine, you have to, as a manufacturer, before supplying to the end customer, you should ensure that the goods which are being supplied are in proper working condition and they are novel and new. So for this, you have to conduct a testing, and this should be included. It should be included in the price. So already it is included, so nothing to be worried about. Nothing to be worried about. So next one is installation planning or installation charges. So before that is pre-delivery. So already I told that installation charges should be included, and it is already included. So installation charges are going to be incurred for the installation of the machine, and it is told that already it is added in this one. So this has to be added, and already you have added it. So you have to do nothing, but you have to give a note. Testing charges should be included in the value of the machine, and already it is included in the machine. Number two is installation charges. Installation charges are primarily allowed to be shown as an expenditure, and it is already shown as an expenditure and included in the value of the machine. Number two, weighing charges. So once you are manufacturing some goods, you have to weigh them. So weighing charges also are cost incurred for manufacturing, and they should be included in the price. In the price, already it is included, so nothing to do. But you have to give a note that this cost should be included, and is already included. This installation cost should be included, and is already been included. So no worry. Weighing charges should be included in the manufacturing cost. So already it is included, so no adjustment. So 1, 2, 3 notes. I have given the hint and I have given the note also. So they should be included, and already they are included as it is highlighted here. If you look here, already added. So this is over and here. So the first point which is to be added is already been added, and nothing to be worried about. Next one is note. There are some notes which are given in the numerical problem. Let's look at this problem. The notes. This subsidy is from the government. The subsidy is from the government. Now, what is the importance of subsidy? I will tell you. Very important. For example, Mr. X is there, and he's a very poor person, and he doesn't have a sufficient amount of money or property or wealth or so on and so forth, or income. And he is pursuing higher education. He is doing his MBA. So he wants to purchase a laptop of 50,000 rupees, but he doesn't have that much amount of 50,000 rupees with him. So he approaches government and tell that, sir, why don't you sponsor 20,000 rupees for this laptop, because I don't have that much, I have only 30,000 rupees. So government tells that, okay, I will give you 20,000 rupees as subsidy to directly to the vendor who is supplying it to you. So who is that vendor? For example, Vijay Sales. So Vijay Sales and government has a understanding that you take from Mr. X only 30,000 rupees, and don't take this 20,000 rupees. Only take 30,000 rupees, because the selling price is even though 50,000 rupees, take from him only 30,000 rupees, and the balance 20,000 will be paid by the government to this to Vijaya Sales on behalf of Mr. X. So the transaction value is only 30,000 rupees, and it should not include this 20,000 rupees. So this should not be included, because the central government is, if it is giving any subsidy, or the state government is giving any subsidy, then that should not be included in the transaction value. This is very, very important. So please remember, the point is subsidy offered by a central government or a state government or a local authority should not be included in the transaction value. It should be removed if it is included. Number one. Now, number two, if any NGO is giving an, if any NGO is extending an subsidy. For example, in this case, Mr. X is there, a poor person who wants to purchase a laptop. He has only 30,000 with him, 30,000 with him, and he approaches NGO. In this case, I'm not talking about a government, central government or state government or local authority, but he approaches a NGO, and NGO tells that, okay, you paid 30,000 to this guy, Messrs. Vijaya Sales, Vijaya Sales, and I will give to Vijaya Sales 20,000 rupees. So this is the subsidy given by NGO to this guy, and this is paid directly to Vijaya Sales. So in this case, if any subsidy is offered on a product or service apart from central government or state government or local authority, it should be included in the transaction value. So this 20,000 should be included, and the invoice should be on 50,000 rupees transaction value. On this, we are going to pay, he's going to charge 28%, so 14,000. So how did he arrive at this 50,000? By adding to 30,000, 20,000 which is intended by, and transaction value is found out. So this should not be should be excluded, and this should be included. So let's see what has done in the solution. Trade discount. So whenever you are doing business and you want to have a volume of business, you have to give discount, and it should be excluded. So let's look at the solution. So excluded means it has to be deducted. Now look at the answer. So volume of machine, the value of the machine already told, it is 5 lakh rupees. Testing charges should not be included. So should be included, and already it is included. So nothing to be done. Installation charges should be included, and already it is included. So nothing to be done. Weighing charges should be included, but already it has included, nothing to be done. Now subsidy by NGO, this should not, this is a very important one. This should be, I told you, this should be included. This should be included. You remember, this should be included. Whereas this 40,000 should not be included. So this has to be included. So we are including 10,000 rupees. Whereas subsidy from government, it should not be included. So we have not considered. So now the price is 5,10,000 rupees up to this stage. On this, there is a trade discount which should be deducted. So I told you, trade discount is the one which is not received, and this is allowed expenditure, and it should be removed from the transaction value. To arrive at the transaction value, it should be excluded. So remove kar do. Itna paisa milne wala nahi hai. So you are going to get 4,90,000 rupees. So this 4 lakh, assuming not deducted. Okay, this is assuming not deducted. So value including GST. This is value. This particular amount is including GST. So this is an amount which is including GST. Now we have to find out the amount which is including in GST. So in this case, it has taken on 4,90,000. So 4,90,000 into 12. I told you the formula also previously. 4,90,000 into 12 by 112 is 59,000, 52,500. So the transaction value now becomes 4,37,500. This is called a transaction value, and this is the amount which is paid or payable by the recipient of such goods or services. In this case, it is a good. So on this transaction value of 4,37,500, we have to include 12% GST to arrive at the total value of the goods inclusive of GST. So this is the second problem. Now let's take the third problem of the day. So third problem. Now let's talk about the third problem. So there can be some questions in your examination on numerical problems, and when you are doing your job also there can be situations like this. So you should be familiar with as far as knowledge about valuation rules. So from the following information, determine the value of taxable surplus. So that is the question already we have dealt. So contracted value of the goods inclusive of now this 15 lakh rupees is inclusive of 18% GST. So what is that we are primarily finding out? We are finding out primarily amount which transaction value on which we are going to levy GST. So this is what is our calculations. We are trying to determine this one. So and this finally will add to this one 18% GST and we'll get the value of supply. Okay, so our concern is not to find out this one, but to find out this one. And this is given in the problem, which is 11 lakh rupees, which is inclusive of this one. And we have to remove this 18% from the concerned amount. So this part is over. So the first part of the discussion also is over. Now next one is cost of primary packaging. Now what do you mean by primary packaging? Cost of protective packaging at recipient's request for safe transportation. Okay. For example, if you have purchased a fridge or a refrigerator or a air, okay. So fridge. So this is a fridge. Okay, you are in Nagar and you made a call to Pune and told Pune Vijay Sales and told him to transport a refrigerator of 1 lakh rupees, for example. So what does he do? Now Nagar is very far from Pune, so it has to be transported, it has to be insured, it has to be properly packed. So what does this guy do? Who is the seller? Vijay Sales will go for a proper packing. So they will go for proper packing with the help of thermocol plus that cartoon. And then as this is primary packaging, we have to go for another packaging which is called as protective packaging, like wooden packaging also is done. So how many packing expenses are done? Primary packing and protective packing for seeing that these goods are safely reaching the customer at Nagar. So this should be included in the cost price of 10,000 rupees and 50,000 rupees respectively. So these two costs should be included. These two costs should be included. So this is to be included and this is to be included. And now, as already told, designing charges and engineering charges. To manufacture any product, some expenditures are incurred for designing the product and engineering charges are incurred. So this should be included. Let's see whether they are included or not. If it is not included, you have to add. If this is not included, it is to be added. If this is not included, it is to be added. So 1, 2, 3 are now over. This is also over. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Commission paid to the agent by the recipient on instruction of the supplier. So supplier is having an agent, and the agent is the guy who helps these two people to come where the agent is an interface between recipient and supplier will pay certain commission to the agent. So that is the expenditure, and naturally for selling a product you have to pay commission to the agent, whether he's a normal agent or a pure agent or otherwise. So this should be included. So this also should be included. So this also should be included. This 18% has to be deducted. Okay. So this is number 5. Number 4, freight and insurance charges paid by the recipient on behalf of the supplier. So irrespective of whether it is incurred by the recipient or supplier, doesn't make any difference. But freight and insurance is a compulsory expenditure without which the goods will not reach the end customer safely and secure. So this 75,000 should also be included in the cost, because these are the cost. This is cost. This is cost. This is also cost. This is also cost. This is also cost, and this is also cost. All this should be included. Now let's look at the answer. So let's look at the answer. So So contracted value of the goods is 1 lakh 11 lakh rupees. So contracted value is 11 lakh rupees if you look here. So the contracted value includes, so already there is a point, very important point. The contracted value includes the following. This all expenses are included in this one. So already included. Yes, it has to be included, and it has been included. So no, nothing to be done. So nothing to do as far as uh, cost of primary packaging is concerned, because it is already included. As far as protective packaging is concerned, yes, it should be included in this, already included. We should not do it. We already, this amount was included. This amount was included in this one. Designing charges, yes, it should be included, and it has been included. Now add commission. Now, what is the point as far as commission is concerned? Other information. Now, this is other information. Other information means what? These two items are not included in this 11 lakh rupees. This, as already discussed, they should be included. The commission paid to agent and the freight charges and insurance charges should be included. This one, but they are not included because they have been kept under other information. So this should be included. So this commission paid to these agent should be included, and the freight charges paid should be included. So these two items should be included. So we have to add 80,000 rupees. So if you add to 11 lakh rupees 80,000, you will get 11 lakh 80,000. Now this 11 lakh 80,000 is inclusive of 18 percentage, as already told. So 118 percentage is equal to 11 lakh 80,000, because 100 percentage plus 18 percentage is equal to this much. So 118 percentage is equal to 11 lakh 80,000 rupees. So 100% is how much? To calculate this, we have to cross multiply. So this is the answer. If you find out, the amount of GST is 1,80,000 rupees, and this is the transactional value. So transaction value is 10 lakh rupees. Add to this one 18 percentage, which is 1,80,000 rupees, because this is the GST, and you will get a figure like this. So now, you have to, in the examination, you have to give a proper explanation to those expenditures. Like I have told you, cost of primary and protective packaging should be included, and that it has been included. In the same way, engineering charges should be included, and it has been already included. So no treatment is required. In the same way, commission paid to the recipient, to the agent, should be included, and it is not included, so it should be added back. In the same way, any GST which is included should be deducted to arrive at the transaction value. So hope this is also loud and clear. Let's take the fourth problem. Let's take the fourth problem. So this is the fourth numerical problem. From the following information, determine the value of that taxable supply. The value of machine includes 12% GST. Okay, and rupees 15 lakh rupees is the value of the machine. The invoices value includes the following. So these items are included, but these items are not transacted, or has not been considered. So we have to find out whether this item should be included and what should be done as far as these items in the other information are concerned. Let's take the solution. So let's discuss the problem. Okay. So taxes charged separately by the supplier. So taxes other than CGC, already I told, any taxes which are required for supplying of goods should be included, and it has been already included. So nothing to be done because it is already included. So look here, weighment expenses and loading expenses. So these are also genuine expenditures for the manufacturing of the finished goods. So this should be included, and it has been already included as already pointed out. Number three is consultancy charges for in relation to pre-installation planning. So this is also required, because once you want to install, there is an element of consultancy charges that should be included, and rightly it has been included, so no adjustment. So nothing to do, because already it is included in the price, as we have already seen here. testing charges. To once the product is manufactured, we have to go for testing, and for testing some expenditure is incurred, that should be included and already included, as already pointed out. Inspection charges, once the goods are manufactured, they have to be inspected, and it has been inspected, and for inspecting 4500 is incurred, so it should be included and is included. So all these five items should be included, so it has been included, so we need not do anything, but you have to give a explanation. Now what about the other information provided uh, in the numerical problem? Subsidy received from central government, this should not be included, this should be excluded, it should be excluded. So it should be excluded, it should not be included, but this is other information, so we should not do anything, it should not be considered here, because already it is not considered. Let's see what's the answer. Subsidy received from a third party. Third party, if is giving a subsidy, it should be included, and this is other information, means it has not been taken into account, so this should be included, this should not be included, and it is not included because this has not been dealt, taken upon. Okay, next one is trade discount. Trade discount actually allowed, shown separately in invoice, so this is allowed, this should be deducted, and it was not shown, so we have to deduct it. Let's look at the answer. So let's look at the answer. So this item, as already told, any expenditure incurred apart from CGST, SGST should be included, and it is included, and as already it is included, we need not do anything. Weighing charges also, it should be included, it is already included in 15 lakh rupees, so we need not do anything. So consultancy charges, testing charges should, and inspection charges already included, so we should not do anything, just leave like as it is included. Now trade discount. So on this amount, 24,000 is not received. So this is an element of income which is not received in the so this is not received. So we have to deduct it. Now look at this one. So this 50,000 rupees which is given as a subsidy by a third party apart from central government or state government, this should be included. So this has to be added back. So this item is these items need not have to be included and has been included. This particular discount should be deducted because we are not going to receive that much amount of money as far as the supplier is concerned. And subsidy which is extended by a third party, which is apart from central government and state government or appropriate authority, should be added back. And as this information is given in other information, you have to assume that it is not added in the 15 lakh rupees of value of machine, so it should be added. So 15 lakh 50,000 minus 24,000, this will be 15 lakh 20,000, which is tax value, means inclusive of tax, inclusive of GST. So we have to remove GST. So to remove GST, what should we do? 112. This is 100 percentage. This is 12. Okay. So this 112 percentage is 15 lakhs 26,000. So what is 12 percentage? So the amount of 12 percentage is just you cross multiply. That is, you will get like this: 15 lakhs 26,000 into 12 by 112 is 1,63,500. So this is the transaction value. To this transaction value, add back the GST. So now, after we have done some numerical problems, now we have to take up the third particular valuation rule. The first particular valuation rule is if the supply of goods or services are to a unrelated person and the price is the sole consideration, that is the transaction value. So we have taken four problems on that. Number two is when the payment towards when the supply of when valuation of supply of goods and services, the payment of which is partly made in money and partly in kind. There were four rules, that is open market value, number one. Number two, money worth plus conversion of that kind into money. Number three is similar kind of goods, how much it is sold. Number four is the rule of 31 and 32. So that we have taken up. Now this is the third valuation rule. The third case I am talking about. The third case. The third case is when the valuation of goods have to be done because the supplies are made through an agent, made through an agent. Let's take up a small example. Let's take a small example. Now, agent is nothing none other than a person who is selling the goods on behalf of the supplier, and he receives some commission. He receives some commission. He is promoting his own business and promoting the business of the supplier. So, so Messrs. Sai Automobiles. Okay, for example, Sai Automobiles is there. Okay, Sai Automobiles is there, and they sell product directly to the customer or to the dealers, and they even have in specified number of agents. So there are 4 or 5 agents through whom the goods are sold. They are sold to this guy, and this guy in turn will sell it to the final customer. So how to find out the transaction value between these two guys is very important, which is none other than the concerned supplier and the agent. So in this case, we have two things we have to find out. One is open market value of such goods which are supplied, and 90% of like, kind, and quality charged by agent to his unrelated customers, where goods are meant for further supply by the recipient. Okay, so let's take up a small numerical problem that will help you to understand. Let's take a small numerical problem. So in this case, I got a small numerical problem. Let me see where is the numerical problem, and we will solve the problem. So the numerical problem is okay. It's missing. Just a moment. So let's talk about take a small numerical problem. Okay. So let's take a problem on valuation of goods which are sold through an third party, which is an agent. So let's take a small numerical problem. Okay. Now let's go through the problem. When a principal supplies groundnut to his agent, and the agent is supplying the groundnuts of like, kind, and quality in subsequent supplies at a price of 5,000 rupees. Okay. Now the principal is selling to the agent, and the agent is selling to a third party or the final customer at a price of 5,000 rupees per quintal on the day of supply. Another independent supplier is supplying groundnuts of like, kind, and quality to the said agent at rupees 4,550 per quintal. So another independent supplier is supplying groundnuts of like quantity, like quality and kind to the agent for 4,550 rupees per quintal. So let's look at the answer. In this case, the answer is so let's explain the problem. Mr. Messrs. XYZ company is there, which has an agent called as Mr. X. They are selling these groundnuts to through Mr. X to the end customer. So here in this case, this guy, the agent is supplying the goods to the to the end customer. So at 5,000 rupees. So X is supplying to the end customer at 5,000 rupees per quintal to the end customer. Now next one is this guy is purchasing similar kind of goods from another principal, Messrs. ABC, at 4,550. 4,550. So in this case, you have two options to find out the transactional value between XYZ, Messrs. XYZ, and the agent. So this guy who is selling the goods to the end customer at 5,000 rupees, you just value it at 90%, which is 4,500. And compare this 4,000. This is number one. Number two is the like kind of goods supplied by another principal to the same agent on a particular day of the same type of goods of kind and quality. So 4,550. So among them, whichever is conducive price for Mr. XYZ, that will be the value of supply of goods made or received through an agent. So in this case, certainly the amount which will be taken as a value of supply of goods in the hands of XYZ will be 4,500, because he wants to reduce the tax burden. So this is the way you can answer to this kind of a situation. So all these things are already dealt. So let's take some more examples. Some more examples. So these are the examples which I wanted to discuss with you. Now these are the numerical examples which have been extracted from Indirect Taxes Committee of ICAI. So this is the source from where these numerical problems are extracted and dealt. So the whole credit goes to Indirect Taxes Committee of ICAI. So this is the standard disclosure which I want to share with you. Now look at the first problem. So there are so many numerical instances or illustrations. So you have to be very careful about as far as the rules are concerned, rule 1, rule 2, rule 3, rule 4 and rule 5. And from that we have to find out the suitable amount of value to the supply of goods or services. Mr. Mohan, located in Manipal, purchases 10,000 Hero ink pens. So Mohan is located in Manipal. He purchases 10,000 Hero ink pens worth 4 lakh rupees from Leka wholesalers. So Lekhana wholesalers in Bhopal. Okay. So Mr. Mohan's wife, who is Mrs. Mohan, is an employee in this company. The the price of each hero pen in the open market is 52 rupees, and the supplier additionally charges 5,000 rupees for delivering the goods to the recipient to the recipient uh, that is the person Mr. Mohan, located in Manipal. So we have to find out in this particular case what is the what is the value of the goods. So we have to identify what type of situation it is, whether the goods are sold to an unrelated person, when the goods are supplied to a related person, when the goods are sold through an agent, or other condition is cost plus 100%. So certainly it's a very confusing stage. So in this case, first and foremost, we have to, there is no agent, there is no, we will ignore this one for the time being, and let's talk about unrelated or related. So in this case, Mohan is the buyer, and Lekhana wholesalers of Pune, Bhopal is the supplier. So this is the supplier and this is the buyer. However, the buyer's wife is working in this company, and hence we assume that there is a relationship between the buyer and the seller. So in this case, the seller is selling to the buyer 10,000 pence at 4 lakh rupees. That is at 40 rupees per piece. This is number one. Number two, however, in the open market, he sells this product at 52 rupees. So certainly there is a difference of some amount of money as far as the price is concerned. So first and foremost, we have to identify whether there is a related party sale or not, or supply of goods or not. So let's look at the answer, because we have to first identify in which case situation this particular numerical problems are categorized. So the answer, let's look at the answer. The answer is, now the answer is in front of you. The answer is Mr. Mohan and Lekhana wholesalers. That is the buyer and the recipient. The buyer and the seller, that is the recipient and the supplier, would not be treated as related persons merely because her his wife is working in the working as an employee, is an employee of the supplier. Okay, so first and foremost, we are ruling out that this is an related party supply of goods. So merely spouse is working, the spouse of the recipient of the goods is an employee of the supplier, doesn't make us to think that there is a relationship. So there is no relationship between the supplier and the recipient. So it will fall under the category of the supplier and the recipient of supply of goods or services are unrelated to each other. Number one. Number two. Hence, because of these reasons, we have to we can state that the transaction value will be accepted as a value of the goods. In such a case, whatever is the amount paid or payable by the between the supplier and the recipient of the goods shall be the transaction value, and this transaction value should include incidental expenses. So in this case, the incidental expenditure is 5,000 rupees of transportation charges. So this should be included. So the transaction value is 4,000 plus another 5,000 rupees for transportation. So total is 4 lakhs 5,000 rupees, which is the transactional value. So this is the way you have to find out. Number one. Number two. Next, take another example. Let's take another example. Let's take another example. Shriram Textile. Now, this example is again extracted out of this political direct taxes committee DCAI. So Textiles is a registered person in Hyderabad. A particular variety of clothing has been categorized as non-moving. These guys who is Shriram Textiles were dealing in a particular product, and this product was not moving and they were not able to sell, and the total amount of these goods which were non-moving was 5 lakh rupees. Now this guy is having a headache that these goods are not sold, so he wants to get rid of this particular goods which is non-moving goods. So none of the customers were willing to purchase these goods in spite of this guy offering big discounts. Now after some month, what has happened, this guy Sriram Textiles was able to locate a customer on a website, through an online website, and this guy was there in Meghalaya. The guy who was ready to purchase these goods of 5 lakh rupees was in Meghalaya, but the condition was he would pay only 2 lakh 50,000 rupees. And the condition which was put forth by Sriram Textiles was that this guy will be ready to supply to this guy two and a half the goods of worth 5 lakh rupees at 2 lakh 50,000 rupees, and the condition that the guy who is purchasing, who is hailing from Meghalaya, on the condition that the person would put a poster of Sriram Textiles in all their retail outlets in the state. Okay, this guy will be promoting Shriram Textiles by putting up posters in all the retail outlets of this particular buyer in their outlets in the state of him Meghalaya. Now let's look at the answer. Whether we should take 2.5 lakhs as the transaction value, or should we take 5 lakhs as a transaction value? Because if it's on 2.5 lakh rupees, then the GST is different amount, and if it's 5 lakh rupees, the GST amount would be something different. So in this case, the supplier and recipient are not related to each other. First and foremost, yes. So whatever is the transaction value, that has to be considered. However, let's look at the other part of the discussion. Although a condition is imposed on the recipient on affecting the sale, such a condition has no bearing on the contract price. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with the price. This is called as a distressed sale, and therefore in this case the transaction value will be 2.5 lakhs only, and price is a sole consideration. So there are two things which have come to the fourth. One is unrelated parties, and between them there is only one important thing, which is price is a sole consideration. Price being the sole consideration. So hope you have understood this one also. Let's take the third example. So this is the answer. Let's take the third example. So let's take the third example. We will skip this one. Okay. Skip this one and we'll take another example. Okay. This is very interesting kind of an example. So there are some parties in this particular transaction. Mona Lisa Painters, owned by Vasudev. So Vasudev is the owner of Mona Lisa Painters. Okay, is the owner, and this particular painter is popularly known for painting the interiors of some halls. Okay, Mrs. Starry Night Painters, also again owned by Vasudev. So these two are related parties, because if this guy is supplying to this guy or this guy is supplying to this guy, this is the owner is same, and this is a case of a related party transaction, and price can't be the sole consideration. Then we have to take into account something else, like number one, open market price. So we have already dealt about this. So let's talk about this. So a factory contracts, then what about this company? This company is into the is engaged in painting machinery equipment. Okay, a factory contracts this Mona Lisa painter for painting its machinery to keep it from corrosion for a fees of 1,50,000. Now this guy Mona Lisa painters subcontracts the work to Messrs. Starry Night for 1 lakh rupees and ensures supervision of the work performed by them. Generally, Messrs. Starry Night Painters charge a fixed amount of 1,000 rupees per hour to its client. It spends 120 hours on this particular project. Okay, so the problem goes like this. Very intricate information is there in this particular one. So Mona Lisa is there. Mona Lisa is there. Starry Night Painters is there. So Night Painters has, in this case, a factory contracts Mona Lisa painter. Okay, for painting its machinery to keep its. So Mr. X is there. He is contracting Mona Lisa painters to see that this particular machine is there, which is to be painted. At what price it has been transacted at 1,50,000 rupees. This is one part. Now Mona Lisa painters is subcontracting to this guy for 1 lakh rupees. Now, certainly, let's look at this particular transaction. This transaction is not an issue, because on this 1,50,000 rupees, we are going to charge. This guy is making a payment to this guy at 1,50,000 rupees. So, on 1,50,000 rupees, GST will be charged suitable rate, and appropriate rate as mentioned in the GST Act for that particular commodity or product or service. Now, this guy is subcontracting to this guy this particular work at 1 lakh rupees. However, if the same work is taken up uh, by S&P from a third customer, from a normal customer, they would have charged how much for this kind of service? 1,000 per hour into 120 hours. So to accomplish this kind of a work, it requires 120 hours, and for 120 hours, each hour they will be charged 1,000 rupees per hour by this guy. But how much this guy is paying? Only 1 lakh rupees for this kind of a. So in this case, this is a case of what you call. This is a case of related parties in picture, and price is not the sole consideration. And in this case, you have to take into account the first step being open market price. So open market price. So open market price is 1,000 into 120 is equal to 1,20,000, not 1 lakh rupees. So this is not the value of the supply of goods or services. This is the value of the goods, value of supply of goods or services. On this 1,20,000 rupees, this is the value, and GST will be levied on 1,20,000. So look at the answer. So the answer is in front of you. The answer is the value of the supply would be the open market value being rupees 1,20,000. That is 1,000 per hour into 120. Next one. So this is another particular example. So let's take another example. The last numerical problem of the day. This is also a bit complicated numerical illustration, again extracted, and the source is from indirect taxes of indirect taxes committee of ICAI. So these guys are having the copyrights. So standard disclosure, extracted from indirect taxes committee. So Prestige Appliances Limited has 10 agents located across state of Karnataka. So there is a company by name Purchase Prestige Appliances in Karnataka having 10 agents. So certainly this is an example where supply is made as far as goods and services are concerned through an agent. On the face of it, we can understand. The stock of chimneys is dispatched on just-in-time basis from Prestige employees appliances to the location of the agents based on the receipts of orders from the agent, various dealers on a weekly basis. So agent, agent to dealers. Now, Prestige Appliances is also engaged in the wholesale supply of chimney in Bangalore. This guy is also not only they are dealing with through the agent to a dealer, they are also into wholesale supply in Bangalore. An agent places an order for dispatch of 30 chimneys on 22nd September 2017. This guy, one of these agent places an order to supply 30 chimneys. Prestige has sold 30 chimneys to a retailer in a Bangalore outlet on 28 September for 2,80,000 rupees. Okay, this is other part. The agent affects the sale of 30 units to a dealer who would affect the sales on MRP, that is rupees 10,000 per unit. So let's look at the answer. The law deems these supplies between the principal and the agent to be supplies for the purpose of GST. Therefore, the transfer of goods by the principal to its agent for him to effect on sales on behalf of the principal would be deemed to be a supply. Okay, the value, now the answer. Let's look at the answer. This is very, very important. The value would be either the open market value or 90% of the price charged by the recipient of the intended supply to its customer at the option of the supplier. So let's look at the answer. The value of the supply by Prestige to its agent would be okay. Now the answer is, we are trying to find out the answer. The value of the supply by Prestige to its agent is 2,80,000 rupees. What is this 2,80,000 rupees? Prestige has sold 30 chimneys to a retailer in Bangalore, which is the open market price, 2,80,000 rupees. Or the agent affects the sale on 30 units to the dealer, okay, to a dealer for 10,000 rupees, which is 3 lakh rupees. 30,000, sorry, 30 units into 10,000 units, which is sold by the agent to the dealer, which is 3 lakh rupees. So this is number 2. So this we have to consider as 90% because there is element of profit to be earned by the agent also. So we consider that the cost is 90% and 10% is his profit. So the cost would be 30%, 90%. The cost would be 90% of 3 lakhs, which is 2,70,000. So among them, whichever is suitable between the supplier, that is the principal, and the agent, will be taken as the value of the supply. And certainly to decrease the amount of GST or tax, they will take 2,70,000 as a value of the supply of goods supplied by the principal to the agent. So these were some of the numerical examples which I wanted to consider for today's discussion. Uh, Thank you so much for patience listening. And if you have any doubts, you can let me know. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care.